Once I started watching this film and got to know the characters a little bit more, I was ready for it to be over, but not because of the reason you might think. So last week, before I left for San Diego, I screened a movie called She Rides Shotgun. I had never heard of this. It's apparently based on a book. I had never heard of the book either. I was drawn to it because the premise looked interesting and it had Taron Egerton, pretty sure that's how you pronounce his name. It had him in it, and it had a young actress who I was not familiar with at all. Her name is Sophia Heger or Heger. I do not know how to pronounce her last name. I tried to find it and I couldn't. Anyway, the story is basically about this young girl who is at school one day waiting for her mom to come pick her up, and her estranged father, not necessarily because of the child's decision, but he'd been in jail and he had a rough background. He shows up and he tells her to get in the car, and she has no idea what's going on. They do not have a very close relationship because much of her life he's been separated from her, either because he's just not been in her life or he's been in jail or whatever. He had just recently gotten out of jail at the start of this movie. These are things you piece together as the story goes along. And he picks her up. She very reluctantly goes with him. She's very scared. She's scared of him, and she doesn't know what has happened to her mother. And the story is basically them on the run from various forces. And I don't want to give away too much because I do feel that this film is absolutely worth watching. It's not necessarily the type of film that would automatically appeal to me. The driving factor was Taron. And the premise did look interesting, but this is really more of it feels like it's more of a character drama than anything else. There are some thriller elements to it because of the people that are going after her father and them trying to evade those people, stay on the run, get away, that sort of thing. But it was quite touching in various ways. And the reason that I was ready for it to be over was because I was getting attached to the characters and I just knew something terrible was going to happen and I wanted it to be over. You know, that sort of film where you just know there's this dark cloud looming over these characters and you don't want to be there to witness whatever it's going to be, but you're just kind of hanging in there with them because you're so drawn to them. It was that kind of situations. Hard to explain, but maybe you know what I'm trying to get across. The girl, the main character, Sophia, oh my goodness, her performance, you guys, I was so impressed with her. She carried so much of the emotional weight that her character was dealing with flawlessly. She said so much with just her facial expressions, just little quirks of her mouth or what her eyes would do. Like everything was in her little face and she was so good. I mean, the way she carried this performance was like she was in it, not that she was acting it out. It was super impressive, and I encourage you to watch this film because of her. Just, you know, this is a child actor that I definitely will be keeping my eyes on because I was blown away by her talent. It was very subtle, very nuanced, not over the top, seemed perfectly right for a child her character's age, and I can't say enough good things about her performance. I also liked the father-daughter relationship. You know, that is the emotional core of this film. It felt authentic and it was heartbreaking because her father had a very dark past and he did not want that same sort of situation for her. And the interactions between them were quite touching. And I really was drawn into this story specifically because of their interactions with each other. I thought it translated onto the screen in a very touching and real way. So another thing that causes me to recommend this film. I really enjoyed also the cinematography. I like the color palette. The color palette was kind of muted. It wasn't super bright or saturated, but it felt warm and almost comforting in a way. It's hard to explain. I also liked some of the ways that a shot was framed. There's one specific moment where the father is driving away and it captures her in the background running after the car. Now, that's not necessarily a shot that's super unique, but the way it was captured, I felt was really impactful, and it was a shot that really stuck with me. Technically, I really liked those elements of this film. I also liked the dialogue. There were some quotes in here that were noteworthy. One in particular was when he was talking to his daughter and he was saying something along the lines of that you have to feel weak in order to get strong. And he was, giving her some other sort of basic life advice, but it was so simple, and at the same time, it resonated very strongly with me. So I like that as well. Also, tying back around to what I mentioned already, the emotional tension, dreading the ending, not because it's bad, not because the story is bad and the acting is bad and the writing's bad or anything like that, but because you care so much about the characters. There were a couple of things that I had some trouble with, two really, that I had a problem with. One was at the beginning when this child is outside the school waiting for her mother. She's all alone. She's been alone for a while. A teacher comes out and asks her something about, is somebody going to come pick you up? And the little girl says something about her mother is late sometimes. And the teacher just leaves her there. What? What? I was just like, what? That didn't sit well with me. Maybe that happens in the book. To me, that feels a little bit, maybe it is realistic because maybe there are some teachers that just don't care, or they don't have the ability to think about the dangers of leaving a child alone outside the school. But that part really stood out to me as a problem. There was also one other part specifically that stuck out to me. It's a moment where a character is hiding behind someone, using this person as a human shield. The people that this person is trying to shield against, they have guns, they have a clear shot, because there's a big size difference between the person they're using as the shield and the person who is behind the shield. They had a clear shot. Why didn't they take it? Should have taken it. Of course, the ending wouldn't happen if they did, but still, that to me was a problem. Maybe that's also in the book. I don't know, but that's still a problem, because my first thought was, they have a clear shot. Why aren't they taking it? You'll know what I mean when you see it. Whatever. Those are actually minor in comparison to the story as a whole. This film, it's not short. It's a bit on the lengthy-ish side at just about 2 hours long, obviously including credits. So a little bit less than 2 hours, but you're going to be spending quite a bit of time with these characters. And for the most part, I felt that this is a movie that can really get under your skin. And I liked this interesting blend of sort of a neo-Western grittiness to it, and the emotional drama as well because of the characters involved. It's not necessarily an easy watch because of some stuff that goes on in the story, but I felt like it was worth it for the performances that we got from these actors, specifically the two leads, and the heart of the story, the father-daughter connection and them forming a bond and what they each could learn from each other. And it seemed to me that they both had character arcs. I felt like the little girl had more of a character arc than the father. And it was interesting to see how she grew through the course of the story. I don't have much more to say about She Rides Shotgun, but I did want to just sit down a little bit and talk about it with you guys before there was too much distance between having watched it and doing the review. I had no time to do the review before I left for San Diego. This is, my second day back, and had time to film this and wanted to go ahead and get it out of the way. But that's it for this one, you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.